Well, 2016's over. My name's Timmy Joe, and it's time to reflect. Because I'm bringing you the best technologies launched in 2016. And we're going to get started with televisions. That's because 4K is here to stay, and OLED, organic light emitting diodes, are the future, bringing HDR, high dynamic range content that makes it look like you're looking through a window into the future. But Samsung isn't going to let LG have all the glory. Their Quantum Dot 4K Ultra HD TVs are taking the world by storm, showing that we can have sexy, curved panels that are affordable in our living rooms. But Panasonic isn't going to strangle behind. The DX802 series 4K television brought incredible image processing and was one of the most critically acclaimed panels of the year. Now you're going to need a way to play this 4K content, and Google has the answer. Their Chromecast Ultra brings 4K HDR content to the streaming living room and is one of the first of its kind to bring 4K to the masses. Switching gears, we're going to talk about virtual reality. HTC brought their Vive VR system out, and although it was very expensive and required a very powerful computer, it proved that virtual reality can be an acceptable format in the home. But this was only because Oculus brought their Rift VR system out as well, and it pioneered the system and the technology a few years ago and brought its polished system to homes this year with their touch controllers. A real awesome system for sure. But if you're just a console gamer, you were probably pretty happy about Microsoft launching an update to its Xbox One line, the One S, bringing 4K Blu-ray capabilities and upscaled 4K gaming. But PlayStation was not going to be left behind. They brought out their 4 Pro with some upgraded graphics as well. But if you're a member of the PC Master Race, you were extremely excited this year. Nvidia launched a whole line of graphics cards, the forefront, the GTX 1080, with huge performance gains over last year's models, and AMD wasn't going to be left in the dust. They launched the Radeon RX 480, which was an affordable price point for VR gaming at only $200. But then we can get into laptops. Man, they got really thin this year. The HP Spectre was like a piece of jewelry, one of the thinnest launched this year, but Dell wasn't going to be left behind. They launched a bezel-less XPS 15 with just a crisp, awesome display, discrete graphics, and just all-out raw performance and horsepower. And that was probably an answer to the MacBook Pro with Touch Bar that launched near the end of this year. And these things have been selling like hotcakes. The Apple fanboys rejoice. But Microsoft has an answer. Their Surface Book got a refresh this year with some upgraded graphics, upgraded processors, and just an all-around sexy computer. But the talk of the town was the Microsoft Surface Studio. This answer to an iMac is just a beautiful computer with an easel-like display that allows you to get some real performance and work done. You can put this thing down, work in Photoshop, do some video editing, use that little click wheel to alter settings in Photoshop with the Surface Pen as a backup. It's just a real cool system. Microsoft has a hit on their hands. Well, can't talk about 2016 without talking about drones, and DJI cleaned up. They brought their Inspire 1 drone out at the beginning of 2016 with a follow-up near the end with a camera with interchangeable lenses. But, this is just a cinema-style drone bringing aerial photography to a whole other level, bringing 4K video and just, crispy images to the everyday consumer. But if you want to actually get up in the sky in a drone, eHang brought out a concept at CES 2016, and they actually have a working prototype. This is a one-person drone that is set to come out in the near future, if they can get the FAA to approve it. and you'd get in this thing, call it like an Uber, and just fly off to a destination. At least that's the idea, but they've got actual test flights of this thing working, so that's why I included it in this list. Well, here's another drone, one that was a short-lived experience. The GoPro Karma launched and had battery problems early on in its production and was recalled, and unfortunately GoPro could not keep up with DJI, who launched their Phantom 4 and 4 Pro mid-2016, and this brought just a whole nother level to the consumer drone game. And then even better, the pocketable drone, the DJI Mavic. You could throw this thing in a book bag with a laptop, go out and get some insane aerial images in 4K, just like the DJI Phantom. It's just a wonderful year for drones, and I can't wait to see what comes in the coming years, because they just keep getting smaller with better cameras and better gimbals. Now we're going to talk Hovercam. This is an alternative to like a DJI Phantom, kind of a little thing you want to get selfies with, and it's a cool concept. You can just throw this thing up in the air and it's going to film you, and it's not going to have the greatest video, but it kind of shows what a little drone's capable of. Snapchat launches their spectacles, and boy were they a spectacle. If you wanted to get your hands on one of these things, you had to sit in line and wait for a vending machine to dispense one if it actually had any left. Now let's talk cameras. Kodak launches a Super 8 video camera, old technology, but brings digital into this technology, allowing you to get that Super 8 footage in a retro feel. Speaking of retro feels, Polaroid launches their Snap Touch Printer Cam. This is a digital camera that has a printer built in that lets you have Polaroid-like images on the go. And then Sony brings out a brand new 4K action camera with incredible image stabilization, optical image stabilization. And this was actually just kind of an overlooked item of 2016 that I wanted to include, because you have the GoPro Hero 5 launch and everyone talks about it, and in my opinion, the Sony does just as good as, if not better. Speaking of Sony, they launched their RX 100 Mark V, and this is the perfect point and shoot camera. Shoots 4K video, shoots 720 video at super slow-mo, 240 FPS, just crazy stuff. We're going to switch gears now, and we're going to talk about Segway. Now, no one's been talking about Segway for a while, but they launched a concept this year, and it's a robot that uses the Segway technology to stabilize itself on two wheels. Kind of brings a little tablet computer around with some image sensors in it, and it's going to just give a whole new idea to having a robot in the household. But if you want a robot in the household now, you can get Chip the Robot Dog. This robot dog launched in 2016, and it mimics a dog in every way, except for it does not eat your slippers, it does not pee on the carpet, and it responds to your commands and learns the way you like things. It's pretty cool. But on the other hand, we have the Asus Zenbo robot. This concept is a helping robot that lets you teach your kids and helps elderly people and tracks them in case they fall. It's a concept as a kind of a helper robot to have in the household, and it's a neat sign of things to come. Speaking of things to come, Amazon launched their Echo Home Assistant and a couple variations of it this year, and it was a huge hit. It's an affordable kind of speaking computer that you can put in your home, get weather, news, set alarms, set reminders, talk to your smartphone, and then of course Google has to get their home, assistant in there, get their hands in the game. And I think this is only a sign of things to come. We're going to be talking to computers in our home, from here on out, and these guys are getting in on the ground floor. Now, you can't talk technology without talking vehicles. Cars these days. Electric vehicles are all the rage, and the Toyota Prius, the original hybrid, got a pretty big refresh this year called the Prius Prime, getting some updated battery technologies, plug-in hybrid version, big center stack screen, some LED headlights, just a pretty cool looking vehicle, I thought. But you can't talk electric vehicle without talking about the Chevrolet Bolt. The Bolt EV launch, it's a little compact car that gets a huge range, and it's just an all-electric vehicle, and it launched alongside an updated Chevy Volt, which is a range extender electric vehicle. Chevrolet trying to be at the forefront of electric vehicle technology, but can't really talk about electric vehicles without talking about Tesla. They launched their Model X this year with those crazy gull-wing doors, just a beautiful SUV. And they launched it all over the world. This is the Beijing launch, and they could not make enough of them. But we're going to switch gears here because last but not least, we need to talk smartphones. And we'll start off with the Samsung Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge. These phones are just all around amazing. Great camera, great battery life, amazing processor, a wonderful user experience. And although the Note 7 did not fare out as well, Samsung had a winner on their hands with the S7, that is for sure. Now, LG was quite the opposite. They launched this modular designed LG G5, thinking it was going to revolutionize the smartphone, but with some quality issues initially, it just did not do very well. And then Motorola launched a similar kind of situation with the Moto Z, a modular smartphone that added some extra speakers and cameras on the back of it. And although the Moto Z sells well, I don't think it's for this modular design. And that's probably why Motorola isn't using it in 2017. Now, Apple brought out the iPhone 7, and although it wasn't a major redesign, they really just polished what they already had off and made a really, really nice smartphone this year. You really, I have to admit, I'm not an Apple fanboy, but it sure does look good in that piano black, and although they killed off the headphone jack, people still love them, and it has an amazing camera system on it. But if you're not an Apple fanboy, you're probably a Google fanboy, and Google launched the Pixel smartphone this year, killing off its Nexus line and really showing what Android can do, bringing a new assistant and just the best smartphone camera to date, and even a blue variant that looks pretty cool there. But I can't wait to see what happens in 2017 with the Pixel 2, that is for sure. But that's what launched in 2016. Did I miss anything? Let me know in the comments below. I think 2017 is going to be an even cooler year for tech, and I've got some videos that kind of explain that, what's coming in 2017. My name's Timmy Joe. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe, check out my Amazon link, and I will see you in 2017.